So welcome to day 23 of month 1. Right. So for today I want us to look at APIs, threading and async concepts. Right. APIs, threading and async concepts. Right. So async stands for asynchronous. Right. I'm not sure if I got the spelling correct, right? But it stands for asynchronous. Right. So for the first part, we're going to look at APIs. So you have a question?
Sorry, Mr. Kumalo, I received a call and disturbed my internet.
Oh, okay. So I said that for today, I want us to look at APIs, threading, and async concepts, right? So async stands for asynchronous, right? But for the first part, I want us to look at APIs, right?
Okay.
All right. So an API allows one program to talk to another program, right? So if I want my system to talk to another system, we use what? An API. If I want my front end to talk to my back end, we use an API, right? So API, it stands for application programming interface, right? This is what API stands for. So remember we talked about built-in modules and modules that you have to install using your terminal. You can say pip install or the name of the module, right? So with APIs, we're going to use a module called requests, and we're supposed to install it. So it's supposed to be pip install requests, then on your terminal, then just hit enter. Okay. So for me, I have it installed. I can just import it, right? So to use the request module, you just import it. Import requests, right?
So you're saying for me, before I import, I have to first
Yes, you have to
pip
first.
it. My line 5 should be pip request, then line 6 import request.
You should write pip install request on your terminal, right? And then inside the code, you just say import requests.
Got it.
Right. Right. So, all right. With the request module, right, it allows you to get data from another system, right? For example, let's say here we have what our URL, which is, let's say, https, right, api.github.com, right? Users, let's say Brandon Kumar. I'm not sure if it's my username, is it Brandon Kumar or what, right? So you have to first set the URL of the external system, right? And then say response equals to request dot get URL, right? So what this is going to do is that this request.get URL is going to try and access whatever you input on your URL, right? Like, so it's going to access api.github.com users Brandon Kumalo, right? Then if the response, right, dot status code equals to 200, right, we say data equals to response dot json, right? Oh,
Remove the line, yes.
yes, if response dot status code equals to 200, right, then so what's going to happen here is, right, that this response is the one that's going to trigger the API call. So this request.get your URL is the API call, right? So if that system returns 200, that means our request was successful, right? So if our request was successful, we have to take that response, the response data, and assign it to a variable. In this case, I just called our variable data. So we just say response.json. Now, right, this response and this response and this response, it's supposed to be one variable. If on line 8, if I change this variable, then on line 10 I'm supposed to change it, and then on line 11 I'm also supposed to change it. We're supposed to use what? One variable. Okay, so now that we have assigned the data that we got back from this API call, right, we assigned it to this variable, then we can now get we can now then use the data, that data for whatever reasons we want to do. In this case, let's just say you want to print the username, right? We can say username, right, data username, right? So this is just a basic API call, right? So we're going to learn more about this once we start learning about backends, right? So I wanted you guys just to have a brief idea of how API calls work in Python, right? So any questions about using the request module? Any questions?
Sorry, can you just give us maybe just 15 seconds?
Okay, that's fine.
Oh, okay, thank you. Yes, hello.
Yes, yeah.
So on line 10, when you said if response dot status code is equals to 200,
Yes. So yes.
what is the meaning of the 200? I'm failing to understand that part.
Okay.
200.
So
Status code is the keyword, is it?
yes, it is.
Uh-huh.
So systems to show that if a certain task was successful, they use status code. There's there's 1xx for 1xx. This means anything from 100 to 199, right? We have 2xx. This means from 200 to 299 and etc, right? So the status code 200 it just means that, okay, your request was successful and the server processed it without any errors, right? So we're also going to learn about the different status codes when you start learning about backend programming, right? So have you ever came across this code 404?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yes.
On a user level.
Yes. So when you
It's
see
very
the
common.
status code 404, this means that whatever you're trying to access, it doesn't exist. This is a not found as status code. So it's one of the most
Okay.
common status code, right? So here it was just a brief introduction of of requests and how you can access different systems. So
Okay.
we're going to dive deep into it when you start backend programming in late month 2.
Okay. Hello?
Okay, it says I'm here. Okay,
All right, that's all right.
right. Right. So
So when we are printing username, uh, okay, print username is just a string. Data,
yes,
then another. Mhm.
So data here is the format. So we use data, open square brackets, open your double quotation marks, and then the name, because it's in JSON format. Remember that JSON format is also a key value pair. So we have to use the name of our variable, which is data in this case, and then the key,
Okay.
right, to access the username. Right.
Yo.
So this is just JSON format. It's the same as this one. Student marks, student's name, student age, student course. The difference here is that here you know the file that you're working with, but here you don't know the file that you're working with. You are calling a different system that you never built.
Yeah.
Right. So as a developer, you're going to work with this most of the times. So that's why we have things what we call documentation, whereby you need to read it first and understand it before you can code that system, so that you can know what you need to do with response.json. Right. So that is a topic for another day when we're now diving deep into programming. Right. So in the group, I sent a link whereby you can check the request module if you want to start learning it right now. Okay. So I also want us to cover.
Sorry,
Three.
Mr. Kumalo. I'm not sure if we have much time. I was going to finish if I keep on asking more questions. Or
Yes, I can ask.
you said what is going on online call. What is going on?
Okay, online TOEFL, right?
Okay, we are converting. Yeah, we are
No.
converting online 8. We declared our new variable. That is just a variable. It's just a variable. Response is just a variable. Is it? Line
Yes.
8.
Yes, it's just a variable.
And then is equals to request.get our URL.
Yes, that's correct.
I understand that part. So if response.status code is equals to 200, in other words, we are just checking if our response, if we acquired whatever it is that we're looking for in the in the other system, is it?
Yes, that's correct.
And if it's 200, then that's a sign that there were no errors.
That's correct.
Then on line 11, we then declared our new variable. This is not a Python keyword data.
Yes, that's correct.
And then we equalize that whatever it is that we acquired from we converted our variable response into a JSON file.
That's correct.
Okay, so I'm right. Then on line 12, we printed our username as a string. Then,
Yes.
yeah, that is, yes, we printed our username as a string. Then there's the data keyword. But now, the data keyword, remember, on line 11, we introduced it as something that had a JSON file in it, is it?
So what now?
Okay,
So this data
okay.
is now our
Data is
JSON
the
file.
name of dictionary.
Yes,
It's now our JSON file, and the username is now our key.
that's correct.
Okay, let's continue.
You now
I think,
understand it. You now
yes,
get
now we
it.
are working together. Yeah.
Okay, okay. Okay. So in Python, in programming, we also have what you call threading, right? So threading, it allows, right? It allows a program to run more than, right? More than one task at a time. Right. So threading allows your program to run more than one task, right? It allows the program to run more than one task at a time, right? So we can run 10 tasks at a time when we use threading, right? So even with threading, now with threading, I'm not sure if it's inbuilt or you have to install it externally, right? So if you say import threading and it underlines or it shows you an error, that means you need to what? Install it, right? So let me also print our time module, right? Let's say create a function called task1, right? For I in range, okay, 110, right? Print okay, let's say print task1, right? I, right? Let's say time dot sleep 1 second. Let's create another task called task 2, right? Then we say for I in range, right? 1 6, right? Let's say print task 2 I time dot sleep 1, right? Then we say thread 1 equals 2 threading dot thread, right? Target equals to task 1. Then we say thread 2 equals to threading dot thread, right? Target equals task 2, right? Thread 1 dot start, right? Thread 2 dot start, right? Thread 1 dot join, thread 2 dot join, print both tasks finished, right? All right, so here we have what a threading code, right? So now this is what I'm going to say now is very important. Unlike functions, right, like this part functions, for loops, etc., right, you need to know how to write them by your head. You need to know how to write to create a for loop. You need to know how to create a function. You need to know how to create a class. That's a must for every developer, right? Then we have things like what, like threading, things that allows a program to run more than one task at a time, right? You are not supposed to know, like once when you are still starting how to learn how to code, like you guys, right? So it's not a must for you to know how to use threading by head, right? So for you guys, you should know that there's something that is called threading, and it allows a program to run more than one task at a time, right? So that when you are now creating your system, that's when you can remember, okay, there's a thing that's called threading that allows us to run more than one task at a time. Then you can now start researching about it and so on, right? Because sometimes you might not even use it. So these are modules that you are not supposed to know by head. You get to know them when you now need them and when you start working with them every day. So what's expected right now of you guys to know how to create classes, for loops, functions, variables, while loops, how to create your own systems. When you're now advancing, you can now start knowing how to create threads by your head. Okay. Any questions with what I said before I can run the code?
Yeah, you even explained what threading, how threading works.
Oh yes, I haven't explained that.
Okay, that's right.
Right. So with what I said, there are no questions. Okay. So threading allows what, a program to run more than one task at a time. Right. So for example, let's take a look at WhatsApp, right? You are sending messages at the same time you are receiving a message, and it's updating your status, and then you get your call, you get it same time, right? So all of that, the app can use what we call threading to allow it to run more than one task at a time. One task focusing at messages, the other task focusing at statuses, and the other task focusing on phone calls, etc. Right. So before I run the code, do we have an a maybe let me say a picture of what threading actually is, without running the code for now? Yes, Mr. Janga.
Yeah, maybe I just wanted to talk and say something so that you can confirm if the picture that I have about threading is correct.
Okay, go ahead.
So for example, I'm on a WhatsApp voice call, but I'm able to receive WhatsApp messages, and I can actually reply to those messages. Is that what you were saying when you said it can manage several functions, or maybe I'm wrong?
No, you're correct.
That's right.
That's right. Okay. Right. Before I can run the code, let me just explain it. Right. So here, we import our threading. Right. We know how this function, our functions are for loop. Then we have time.sleep. It's part of the time module. What time.sleep does, it just says delayed by 1 second, right? If I change this to 100, it delays it by 100 seconds. So when you run the code, when the function executes, it's going to wait 100 seconds, right? This is what time to sleep just means. Just delay it by 100 seconds, 1 million seconds, etc. Right? Then here we have our two variables, thread 1 and thread 2, right? The values of those variables is threading dot thread, right? So threading dot thread is what creates our thread. This code, it creates our thread, right? And then open bracket target, we're telling it the purpose of this thread is supposed to target this function. This function is the one that's supposed to run on this thread. Then we create another thread using thread 2, and the target is what? Task 2. Right. So we have what? Thread 1 dot start, thread 2 dot start. Dot start, it's what starts the thread. Here we create the thread, right? But we created it, it's not doing anything, right? And then dot start, then it now starts what? The thread, right? And then dot join, it waits for the thread to finish. And so dot join, it waits for the thread to finish. Okay, I'm now running the code, right? Do you see what's happening on my terminal? Right. These tasks are running at the same time, right? Do you see that is task 1, task 2, task 1, task 2, task 1, task 2, right? Confirm that you guys can see it.
Yeah, we can see it.
So remember that with Python, right? It was supposed to do task 1 first and finish, right? And then do task 2, right? So it was supposed to be task 1, task 1, task 1, task 1, task 1. When it's done with task 1, it can now do task 2, task 2, task 2, right? But since we used our tool called threading, these two tasks, they're both running at the same time, right? That's why it said task 1, task 2, task 1, task 2, task 1, task 2, because they're both running at the same time, right? So with threading, we don't wait for this function to finish first, then we move on to the second function. They both run concurrently. Okay, so any questions with threading? Okay, yes, Mr. Janga. Yes, Mr.
Okay, so when task two arrived on, since the range for task 2 is running from 1 to 6, when it arrives at 6, task 1 is the one that is going to run after that alone. Task 1 is going to run alone after that.
Exactly, because task 2 will be finished, so which means task 1 is what's left.
Okay.
Yeah. So when this task finish, the thread stops.
So what does line 36 and 37 do, by the way? Maybe you can explain line 33 and 34 and 36 and 37.
These two, they're the ones that start our thread, right? And dot join is the one that it ends our thread, right? It just waits for the thread to finish. So starts our threads.
Yeah, thank you for the comments.
Okay, it waits for the threads to finish, right?
And the thread, and the threads do finish on what on when task 2 arrives at 6. Is that when the thread ends, or it ends?
The thread ends when our for loop ends.
Okay.
So when our for loop ends, then the thread is also going to end. Right? Do you now get it?
Yeah, I do.
Now, you might think that this is actually a very cool idea. You can multitask, right? Am I wrong?
Yeah, right.
Right. But it's not as cool as you might think, because this consumes a lot of CPU. It eats a lot of power. Right? So you might think, okay, it's running concurrently, so it's fast, but this now uses a lot of RAM and a lot of hardware. Right? So for most scenarios, it's not advisable to use this unless it's a must. There are certain systems whereby it's a must for you to use this, to have multiple things running concurrently. Otherwise, it's not it's not advised to use this. Right? For example, if for example, my laptop, right? It's a Core i5. It has 8 cores and 16 threads, right? So if I run these 2 threads at the same times, that means that from the 16 threads available on my laptop, 2 threads are already running concurrently. So that means I'm left with 14 threads. So if I have, like, let's say 15 threads running concurrently, that means that out of 16 threads, I now have 1 thread available, because the other 15 threads are running concurrently. So that it can overheat your laptop and can even damage your laptop. Right? So when working with threads, you must be careful. Make sure that you don't overuse them. Okay. So make sure that your laptop can handle all of the threading, right? So, and also the task that your threads that are going to use, it's also very important. Like for these 2 functions, these are not demanding functions. You can run as many as you want, but there are certain functions that demand a lot, right? So whereby even if you use 1 thread, it can feel like it's more than 1 thread. Right. So any questions? Okay, so no questions, right? Okay, no. So let's move on to the last topic of the day: async programming. Right. Right. Asynchronous. I'm not sure if I got the spelling correct for asynchronous. So async stands for asynchronous programming. Right. So async, right? So async programming helps Python handle waiting tasks efficiently, right? So async programming helps Python handle waiting tasks efficiently. So even if you use change a language from Python to any other programming language, you are going to find this concept async programming. it's available in all of the programming languages out there, right? So async programming just helps Python handle waiting tasks efficiently, right? So to use asynchronous programming in Python, we use a module called Async, right? I'm also not sure if it's a built-in module or you're supposed to install it, right? So if you're supposed to install it, I'm sure it's pip install Async, right? I'm sure it's pip install Async, right? So you can use async programming for tasks like sending emails, or yeah, basically for sending emails, things that are not supposed to happen right now. When the, for example, if you are in a system or you have login forms, right? For those things you can't use async programming because those are things that are supposed to happen right now. But for background activities like sending emails, confirmation, OTPs, things like that, you can use async programming, right? So to use async programming, right? Let's say we have our function download data, right? You need to create a function, right? So async programming, it's also it's built in within a function, right? You have to declare your function the same way you create your function, but the difference that between a normal function or a normal method within async function is that at the beginning you don't start with the def keyword, right? You start with the async keyword. So you're supposed to say async def, right, and the name of your function, right? When Python sees this, it's going to know that, oh, so this is what an asynchronous function, right? So let's just say we have a print statement. Okay. Let's say we have await download finished, right? Let's create another one. Async def send message, print sending message, await asyncio dot sleep one, right? Print message sent, right? Then another third function, right? Our main function, right? Await dot await asyncio dot right? Here from line 44 to line 59, right? We have an asynchronous programming, right? So this keyword async, right? It creates an async function, right? And then this wait keyword, right? This wait keyword, it just means wait without blocking everything, right? It just simply means wait without blocking everything, right? So since your dot gather, right, this runs async tasks together, right? Async tasks together. If you have multiple async tasks, right, you can use async your dot gather, right? So this runs async tasks dot async task together, right? So let me run the code. Where is the error? Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay, let me run the code again. Okay, let me run it again. Right. When I ran the code, did you guys see that download starting and sending messages and sending message? They both are showed up on the screen at the same time. Did you guys see that?
No, maybe I didn't see that.
Okay.
But if it did happen, you can explain why. Maybe that's where you're getting to.
Okay, look at my terminal, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm now running the code. Do you see that download starting and sending message?
Yeah.
What they ran at the same time?
At the same time.
So instead of Python doing the download data first and then after finishing download data and then moving to send message, right, it did both of them at the same time, which is what similar to what, to threading, right? So so these two are somewhat similar, right? So with async, it allows what, a single program to work on multiple tasks at the same time, right, without creating multiple threads or processes. Remember I said that with threading you should be very careful when you use it and where you use it, because it can damage your machine, it can overheat your machine, right? But with async, right, it's more friendly, much more friendly than what threading. You can run multiple tasks at the same time without using a lot of threads compared to threading. Right. So this is useful, right, when your program spends more time waiting for data. Like for example, here on our APIs, when you are going to be making API calls, you always use what, async programming, because you are going to wait for the response. So in that way, whilst they are waiting for a response from your API call, right, your system can continue doing other tasks. When you now get the response from your API call, you can then finish whatever you're supposed to do with that data. So async programming, it doesn't block other functions, right? So here I have my download data function, right? When this function runs, whilst it's still downloading my software or my images, my videos from the internet, right? This send this send function, right? It will execute doing what it's supposed to do, whether this one is finished or not. Right? Just like in WhatsApp, you can be sending a video to one of your chats, right? Then you exit that chat and send a message to another chat, then exit that chat, go to statuses and post a status, exit, then view a status. You are doing multiple API calls at the same time. Just because your video is not yet done sending, it doesn't mean that you can send a message to another user. You can still send a message to another user because of asynchronous programming. It allows your system to do multiple tasks at the same time without blocking another task or waiting for another task to finish. Okay, so any questions about async programming? Yes, Mr. Achanga.
So Mr. Kumalo, things are getting really tough, to be very honest. So, Mr. Toops is laughing.
Okay.
Yeah, things are getting hot. so, so I wanted to ask.
Yes, sir.
My first question is on line 48.
Okay.
So,
I'll wait.
what does dot sleep 2 imply?
Or dot sleep 2 just saying wait for 2 seconds.
Then what?
Then execute this line of code. Yes.
Okay, you download that thing, sending message, they printed at once. And then message sent, okay, it printed after dot sleep 1 second.
Okay, let me show you another example of asynchronous programming, right? Def func 1.
Yeah.
Def func 2. Right. So these two functions, we call them synchronous functions. Right? The functions that we have been working with so far and all of those methods, those are synchronous functions and synchronous methods. They are synchronous, right? Because in order for function 2 to execute, function 1 needs to execute and finish. Do you remember that Python starts working from top to bottom? So it's going to wait for this one to finish, then it moves on to this one, right?
That means like 9s.
Yes. But with asynchronous functions, Python is not going to wait for this one to finish, right? When this one is now running, it then moves on to the next function, right? Even when this one is not done running, it will keep on running in the background whilst it works on this function, and this function also run on the background, right? So it will still keep checking them if they are finished or not. If they are finished, then it cuts them off, right? If they're not finished, it will still keep them running on the background. Like on your phone, sometimes you have background apps running, right? It can be asynchronous functions, just running those apps on the background. So that's the difference between asynchronous functions and synchronous functions.
So message send printed first before download finished, is it? Because there's a slip down of 1 second. Is it?
Okay, let's check. I'm now running the code again. Yes. Yeah, correct. Right.
Okay.
Okay, so for now, what I'm expecting from this lesson is that you guys should know that there is what you call threading that allows you to run one or more programs at a time, right? Then we also have what asynchronous programming that also helps you run more. It also helps you run a lot of programs at the same time, but it's more efficient than threading, right? So you should know that there are these two concepts, they exist, right? And we also have what APIs, application programming interface, they also exist. We're going to be diving deep in these concepts when you now start learning about the backend framework, right? So if you just try and familiarize yourselves with them, it can help you a lot. Okay. So, any questions? Yes, Mr. Achanga.
If you would just scroll up a bit.
Okay, scroll up a bit. Yes.
Yeah, there. It's okay, thank you. So on line 5, we imported the module request. Then URL is equal to this. Then response is equal to request dot get URL. Request being our module, the keyword. Then on line 10, if response dot status is 200, just checking if everything is okay. Then data is equals to response.json. So we are saving whatever it is that we had acquired into. So my question now is, here's my question. My question is on line 12.
Yes.
So why are we now think or in our what do you call this, our data?
Why are we now what?
What we are setting up is it we have a variable that's called data on line 12
Yes.
that we first created. Of course, we created that variable on line 11.
That's correct.
And then, yes, and we said our variable, its value is equal to whatever it is that we're going to acquire from the URL on line 7. Is it?
That's correct.
Yes. So now I'm saying, why are we now declaring our data a dictionary? How confident are we that on the URL on line 7, how confident, or what makes us confident that our data from the URL on line 7 is in the format of a dictionary? Is my question clear?
Yes, it's clear.
Okay,
So,
thank you.
100% confident, because you see it when you're now working with backend format. Backends always return our data in JSON format. Right?
Okay.
So you always know that backends, they always return data not in JSON format.
JSON format.
Okay, let me see if I can open. Let me try. Let's see.
Please don't confuse us, please.
No. I just want to show you something. Right. Do you see? So this is a system that one of the systems that I've been working on the whole year. It's now close to 1 year. We've been working on this system since last year, October.
Okay.
Right, and we're now in July and still working on it. So this is the backend, right? Do you see these are return response? Do you see
Yeah,
it?
I can see
Yes,
it.
on the 92. So every backend, it returns this format, JSON format. See, it's also like a dictionary. It tells what? A key and a value. So that's why I said I'm 100% sure that it's going to return what? This format. So what we access, we use this key to access this value.
Yeah.
Right? And then like we said, we are going to talk about this status code as we go on. Okay, so I can go back to our code. Okay.
Yeah, definitely. Very quickly actually, because this is this is quite tiresome.
Okay. So, any more questions?
So in other words, you're trying to say when it comes to acquiring information from another system, when it comes to APIs, yeah,
Yeah.
it's definite that
Yes.
information is always acquired in dictionary format.
Yes, that's correct. Because it's
Okay.
always a JSON using a REST API. We're going to talk about what a REST API is. Don't worry about that for now. It's always what in JSON format.
No, that's all right. Thank you so much.
Right. So, any more questions? Okay. So, since we talked about async programming, right? What we're left with is for month one is just our Q&A session, right? So I don't know, should we have it tomorrow, Thursday, or we can do it on Friday? While only left with one lesson for month one. What do you guys think? Yes, Mr. Achanga.
Yeah, I think a lot has transpired, especially during the first month, but especially this week, how we've gone through a lot.
Yeah,
So
that's
what I
true.
suggest, maybe if you could give us the whole of tomorrow to try and revisit everything and craft questions so that on Friday it's going to be a very useful and beneficial interaction, because I'm sure everyone will be in a position to be able to gather everything the whole of tomorrow without having to attend the lesson, so that on Friday we can begin to address whatever it is that is troubling us. That is I don't know about Mr. Tubes, but that is what I think.
Okay, so Mr.
Yeah,
Tops.
I also think the same way, because today I didn't have much time to join in the lesson, so I still need to catch up on this one as well. So I think it would be best. What you said would be really well. Really well.
Okay, so I guess tomorrow won't have a lesson. Our last lecture will be on Friday. So today, this was our last lecture learning new concepts about Python. So for month one, we're officially done with learning any new concepts. So what's left is for tomorrow just you guys to revise, then Friday we have a Q&A session, then during the weekend you guys get to revise again, and then next week Monday 3 August we begin month 2 and start learning new different concepts. Right.
I don't know if you can help maybe give us a general idea on, I can't say examples, maybe just how can I put this? You know what we are doing, right? Like what we did with the project for the school for
Yes.
this setup is maybe give us other, not give us homework per se, but give us other clues as to what maybe we can do, we can be doing using the concepts that we learned so far. Maybe somewhere you did those notes that you used to put the PDF notes. Maybe just give a general idea that this concept you can use it to create such a thing or such a thing.
Okay, so like maybe
So
a project idea.
project idea, so that even myself I can be working on something. Then whenever I get questions, I can always be coming around to ask how we do this, how we do this.
Oh, okay. So tomorrow I'll send you guys at least 5 project ideas. Then you can choose which project you want to work on.
Yeah, that will be helpful. We'll be using it over time. Even during the lesson, we can always be asking how we do this, apart from what we'll be learning on that particular day.
Okay, that's fine.
Thank you so much.
So I guess that's it for for month 1. So I'll see you guys on Friday for the last lesson.
It's okay. Thank you so much, Mr. Kumalu. So are we going to get that program running? The one from yesterday, maybe on Friday, hopefully.
Yes, on Friday.
Yeah, that's okay then.
All right.
Speaking about that project, did we create the JSON file for the students? Did we do that?
Yes, we did. But if you didn't create it,
Yes, we
the program is also going to create it for you.
So can you run it? Can you run that program with I'm a bit confused.
Like,
Isn't it was supposed to create maybe a dictionary or a list or something of maybe students or something like we did before? Or I think I got confused.
okay.
Just that I wasn't there at the start of the lesson.
Oh, here we have what our file name students.json. Right, this is our file name students.json.
Yeah.
Then we have what line 78, we have save students with open file name as write mode. So remember that write mode, it will overwrite whatever is inside students.json. If it doesn't exist, it will then recreate it for us.
Okay. Okay. I guess I all right. It's okay now. I understand.
Oh, you now get it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll see you guys on Friday.